Scorpio, welcome to your love reading. So this is for Scorpio Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus, or cross watchers. And we're going to, if you're single, if you're in a relationship, or if you're asking about a friendship, if you're asking about a family relationship, all of those could apply here. Take what resonates. There will be many messages through this reading that could be anything, but we're starting out with the King of Rods. So that's a King of Wands. Powerful start. The Tower. Well, you don't do it halfway, do you, Scorpio? Before I get super into it, while I'm shuffling and everything, please give this video a like. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, subscribe. It helps other people to find the videos, but it also helps you to connect in with my energy so that future readings are tuned into you. Okay, the Knight of Cups and the Hermit. I don't really read reversals in this deck, so we'll turn that upright. Let's clarify with the Tarot of Sexual Magic. I feel like this is a very Scorpio kind of deck. Warning, this is 18 plus for nudity, sometimes graphic scenes of a sexual nature. So let's clarify the King of Rods for you. We have the Knight of Swords reversed. I'm going to turn it upright. Clarify the Tower. We have the Queen of Wands. She came out reversed as well. Okay, so we have a lot of players on the table. The Magician clarifying the Knight of Cups. What is going on in your life right now, Scorpio? Some things are closing out with wow. Okay, and the Hangman to clarify the Hermit. So no surprise here, Scorpio, you have the most intense reading that I have done so far. Okay, so let's start with the King of Rods. I feel like this is your energy. I feel like this is you coming in hot with some hot, fresh, passionate energy. And if you're single, you're looking for a place to put it. If you're in a relationship, you're wanting to start that up again. However, the blockage we find here is in communication. So if you are in a relationship with someone, this is a situation where you may be up for it, but they're not necessarily there. So there could be some kind of like negotiation, conversation that needs to be had. Maybe some consents sorted out. Maybe you're looking to get a little bit kinkier in your life. Maybe you're looking to explore. The King of Rods is pretty sure of himself, and he's got that really potent, virile energy. It doesn't matter whether you're how you identify. This is still like, this is your inner masculine coming out, but your partner has to be on the same page as you. So I see that there's some kind of communication that needs to happen regarding boundaries, regarding this feeling. And maybe there's been a time of like kind of awkwardness, or maybe you have been dating certain people that didn't really align with these needs or desires that you've had. So you're starting to look for fine-tuning your search for people who are interested in what you're interested in, or interested in exploring what you're interested in. But then what I see here is the Tower. And the Tower is when this is an epiphany. This is something coming in, information coming in and lighting a fire. But this, to me, is a very phallic tower. For some of you, I feel like you might be halted by the fact or the issue from the past in your relationship, or the issue if you are single is that you may need to deal with an STI. So there is some guidance here from Spirit. If you haven't been to the clinic, this is the weirdest news I've had to deliver, but if you haven't been to, especially if you are a masculine, please go get checked out, okay? So that's there for you. But what I'm seeing also is just this, like, there's so much passion and nowhere to put it, and this leads to almost like things falling apart. Okay, so maybe relationships are ending. Maybe you are striking out a lot or having really. Okay, so when we clarify, we had the Queen of Wands reversed. So this is kind of like, yeah. It's passion gone wrong. What's happening with you guys? What's happening with you, Scorpio? It's like, I can see what's happening, and I just am really having a hard time describing it to you, but it's like awkward encounters. It's like things kind of going wrong. It's like, ow, ow, you're on my hair. Or like, like things are getting halted. Things aren't working out. And I really feel like the reason for that, and we're moving into that, is that there isn't. Maybe if you were able to hook up with people before, for instance, I just feel like that's not working for you anymore. Or there's something about the love in the relationship, the emotional energy in a relationship. There's a need for more romance here. There's a need for more love and connection, more than there's just the physical. So if this is a situationship that you are in, I definitely, with a friendship or a family relationship, I mean, this is kind of awkward to talk about that now, or a business partnership. This could be just like you have so much creative energy flowing to you, and it's being blocked or stifled by someone who doesn't really understand or appreciate it. Okay, and so this Tower moment could be a falling apart of that partnership or some kind of conflict or fights. And this person could be a Queen of Wands character. So she's someone that's kind of like mystical, magical, whatever. It doesn't have to be a woman, but that's the kind of, it's like a feminine mystique that she has. But what I'm noting here is that you have a Queen of Wands and you have a King of Wands. Okay, so this is a divine pairing. This is a well-matched pair. But something here is going on. It feels like you have to go through this Tower moment. You have to recognize. So maybe you're in a situation where something that you thought was casual, you start to catch feelings. And you start to catch feelings because this person is the queen to your king. Okay? This person is someone that you have manifested. You've been calling this person in. You've been calling in this love. And then it comes, and you just want to do with it what you've done with other things in the past, let's say. So if you're in a relationship, there's a need for a revival of romance. And again, this is something that you've been asking for. Okay? But I think that there's a need here for clear communication about that. And I think that clear communication may come the hard way. Okay, so there could be a time of separation. I'm seeing that here with the Hangman and the Hermit. The Hermit is about taking time to yourself. So if you are noticing, and I feel like I'm speaking to certain people directly. So just go with this scenario. If this scenario doesn't fit for you, the next one might. Okay, so if you are someone who is in a kind of player energy, or you've just discovered something about your sexuality, or you've just discovered something about your drive and where you want to go in life, you may need time to integrate that. You may need time to yourself to grow. So it could be that the reason that the king and the queen are not matching right now, that they're not seeing eye to eye, is because there's some wisdom, there's some growth, there's some time alone that you need. So maybe if you have been one relationship after another, this is about taking some time for yourself. If you're in a relationship and you came to that relationship from another one, it's taking that time to yourself. And when I say taking that time to yourself, for those of you who are single but you have situationships or exes or someone that's looming around, this is about cutting that out. Okay? going back to square one. And, you know, these are two different kinds of breaks, right? The Hanged Man is like you just get suspended for a period of time. It also helps you to shift your perspective and let the blood flow back from here. So maybe to think more clearly with your heart and your head and not just your creative drive, if you know what I mean. And it feels weird to use innuendos because for some of you, this literally is a reading about partnership and business. And I'm trying to like translate all the different readings that are coming in through one thing about different situations. And I think in the future, I may separate these out and do a reading for singles, a reading for relationships, a reading for something else. Or you can check out the general readings and see if they kind of pick up on these themes as well. So you can use all of my readings to kind of like build a picture as well as your own intuition, for sure. So yeah, I feel like it's just not the time. There is strong indications here of bondage, of like BDSM. And if that's the case, you know, negotiating that in a very clear communication is needed for those kinds of relationships, okay? And if someone is going to take on that dominant role, and if you are wanting to step into that dominant role, maybe you need to get some things right in yourself, that you are not just wanting to take that on because you are a dominant person, but because you are someone who wants to serve the submissive, okay? So that's a really important message that's coming in as well, that you are doing these things for the right reasons, and that submissive, you understand that you should be empowered. Again, okay, so in a business partnership, take that and fit it into business. So, you know, if it's a situation where someone has been very dominant in this friendship, in this business partnership, taking some time to walk away and kind of like go back to square one and recognize what your gifts and abilities are. Maybe you've been leaning on your partner in a certain way that that you can now empower yourself to, you're stepping into your personal power. You can now go at it alone, or you can bring that to the table. But because you assigned, there was another reading that was like this, because certain roles were assigned, people had got stuck in those roles. And I think this is where the dominant and submissive thing is really interesting, because maybe you had a situation here with your partner where one was dominant, one was submissive, and now those roles need to be either reversed or just there needs to be a balance somewhere in between. But we're going to get some love oracle cards to see. We have palm tree. This is stability, security, permanence, growth, endurance, flexibility. Okay, so these are ultimately the goals of the communication. So these are the things that quite literally it's guiding you to talk about. Okay, so the issues or themes that you can talk about, and this may be if you're dating, something to bring up when you're dating. What are your ideas of stability? What are your ideas of security? What does permanence or commitment look like to you? You know, what is your commitment to growth? What have you been through? What is your flexibility? Are you looking for areas where someone may be rigid, like someone may be more fixed? And we have hammer, sabotage, rebuilding, interrogation, repetitive, persistent, working on it. Are you continuously rebuilding this tower? Every time it falls, are you just hopping back on it? I'm really tapping into Scorpio energy right now. Okay, so this isn't something that I have a lot of in my chart, so it's not something I'm super comfortable with, but I feel like I'm really tapping into it. So if you are the hammer, literally, you guys, I can't. Okay, everything in this reading is a sexual innuendo, but not everybody's reading is sexual in nature. So that's what's making it like this Knight of Rods set the pace, I think. Okay, so Is there a situation where you continue to build this tower over and over again, even when it falls? And if it is, it's time to take a step out and look at why that's happening. I do think that there is like love and divine partnership here. I do think it exists. But I think that there's like a kind of approach that just keeps, it's almost like you keep going back in with the same tools, the same tricks, but you have new tools, you have new tricks. It's just about applying them or knowing to apply them. And it may not be an obvious thing, so that might be where the problem is. Here we go again with communication, love call. So if you are single, someone is going to bring in this message of love. There is a message of love coming in for singles that is manifested, that you've been asking for. Don't panic, it's fine. But this person is going to tell you that they're thinking of you. They want to let you know. This could be an outgoing call. Fair warning to kind of dial back. So maybe like if you want to launch forward with like, I'm obsessed with you and I'm thinking about you all the time, maybe dial it back a little and like be a little less intense. Try and find sweetness, you know? Even though maybe that's authentic and you're feeling this personal power and you're feeling this surge forward and you want to reach out to this person. Because I do feel for those of you who are in the masculine energy, you are going to be reaching out to this person. For those of you in the feminine energy, you're going to be receiving this communication. And this is like, you know, the feminine energy is looking for the masculine energy to have grown, to come in with a new approach. So maybe the masculine is always coming in with like flirtation or, you know, like offering like sex or physical connection, and the feminine is looking, it's like, no, I want you to lead with your feelings. I want you to lead with the love. I want you to lead with how you feel about this situation and be more vulnerable. Okay. But because, you know, if you've been in this, you know, if you've gone into this hermit energy, or if you're going into this hermit energy, that's where you get the wisdom for that. And then not enough. Okay. So there's some insecurities here. How do I put this? Okay, so the person who is dominant may be dominant because they feel like they don't have as much to give. So the dominance comes from this insecurity that the other person has more to give, and so all they have to give is this dominance, for instance. So in a business partnership, it's like they take on this role because they feel like that's all they have to give. And if you start taking on that role, they feel like they don't have anything to give anymore, right? So this goes for partnerships as well. If you start to move around the dynamics in your relationship, this person could be afraid that they don't have they may be afraid that they're, you know, that you're going to find someone else, or, you know, they may start to get really jealous of, or you may start to get really jealous of anyone that's around them. And so it's time to take a step back. If you start getting jealous, if you start getting into your ego and feeling like you are, like not in a healthy headspace, pull back and take some time to shift your perspective. Okay. I'm going to take these. And for your love oracles, we have Marlene Dietrich. Dress for yourself and not for a lover or occasion. This is a very, like, Queen of Wands energy. Once you have forgiven your lover, get them to reheat the sin. Oh my gosh, I feel like that line sums up this entire reading. There's some kind of forgiveness. Give up on revenge. Give up on grudges. You don't need them. That's not going to help you. It's the friends you call after hours that matter. Yeah, and I feel like for those of you who are more in the single kind of playing the field energy, I think this is really a call to recognize that each time things fall apart, who are you calling? Who are you going to? And that if you are continuously going to this person and then you want to make a serious relationship out of that, that person is not going to be in a space where they're like, hey, yeah, totally. They may have their concerns, right? Because they've been holding you up. They've been listening to you talk about these things. They've been listening to you talking about someone else. So to like talk about someone else and then be like, I'm super into you, you can't really do those two things at the same time. So it's like, I'm just seeing someone like banging a bunch of pots and being really erratic about it. So like try and bring it in. Try and find some, like, slow it down. This is Virgo. This is Virgo energy. So you could be dealing with a Virgo. We also have Aries here. Those are the main ones I'm going to point out. Pisces. And Elizabeth I. So it says, have the heart of a man and the body of a woman. This is so interesting because throughout this reading, I really feel like the masculine and feminine are easily switched in this one. So it may be that the both people, and this could be like if you're single and you're like coming into something, it could be that you both really like switch between being the masculine and the feminine. So regardless of your gender identity, it's like sometimes this person is like hyper masculine and sometimes they're hyper feminine, and like vice versa. That it really, there's a play there between both. Like I couldn't fix on like sometimes readings are more neutral than others, but this is a very ambiguous reading in terms of that kind of thing. Like man or woman. There's feminine and there's masculine, and who knows? Who knows? I would rather be a beggar and single than a queen and married. So there's a commitment to the play here. And I think this is an issue that is being addressed here with this love that's needed. So it's like your sex life is not going to be as fulfilling going forward because when there isn't love. So if there's issues of impotence potentially, or just not really getting aroused, it could be because of that. Sorry for those of you who are here for a partnership, business partnership. I don't know if you're still watching, but this really has to do with the partnership needing to be a healthy one. Right? So if you are in the energy of feeling like you would be better off with this person without this person, and being, starting from square one, for instance, like maybe you're leaving a partnership and you're kind of like, I could leave this business behind and start from scratch, then that's something to really look at. That really tells you how you feel about this partnership. And a clear and innocent conscience fears nothing. Right, so this has a lot to do with that, the not enough energy. So if you're feeling jealous, maybe looking at what your behaviors are, or, like how much of what you were thinking and feeling about that person and that not being enough are you projecting onto the other person? Or maybe like, they couldn't find me attractive because they're too attractive. Like you're projecting that they can't find you attractive, right? But that's not up to you. That's up to them. Right? Right. Let's get some cards about future energies and then we'll close out the reading. What can we know for Scorpio? Nine of Rods and the Seven of Swords. There is a lot of truth that needs to come to the surface here. There's a communication that needs to be had. There's a communication about where you stand with someone, boundaries, deceit, lies, getting away with something. You know, this is calling for, if you want a relationship with this person, if you want a healthy relationship moving forward, you're going to have to be straight up about your fears and insecurities and let yourself be vulnerable. Come forward with your emotions. Come forward with your thoughts rather than your than your passions, of which you have many. But I see you giving up, you know, coming into some more truth, giving up your burdens, giving up your grudges. That's really important for you. And the Eight of Pentacles came out reversed. So ultimately, the love should not be hard work, right? So when you have this King and Queen, it's not that the love is hard work. The love is felt. The love is there. It's everything else, right? And it's not the sex, actually, but it's it's not that. It could be that, but only because of the other blockages. With the partnership for business, this is turning it on its head. So I just feel like with that, if there's too many lies, if there's too much water under the bridge, it might be time to move on from that. And I'm only getting that with the business partnership. I'm not necessarily getting that with a romantic relationship, but there is the energy of moving on if that is something that you need to do. But I think first it's about going into this reflective space. Okay, so that's what I have for you, Scorpio. I hope this was interesting or entertaining in some way. Please leave me a comment, like, subscribe, share, whatever, and we'll see you soon.